I'm Chase, and this is All Things Random. Today, we're looking at the Blackbeard Fire Starter. Now, with this video, we're getting back into the roots again of all things random. We're moving a little away from watches and we're getting into some survival equipment. Now, the municipal pools will be open up next week, and I have so much dive and water equipment and reviews to do. Those will be coming in the future. All summer long, it's going to be a lot of different things. I'm still going to be doing watch reviews probably more than ever. I have a lot of stuff coming in, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. Now, let's just flip the camera around and let's look at this Blackbeard Fire Starter. Okay, this is what we're talking about today, the Blackbeard Fire Starter rope, proudly made in the US of A. Now, I don't know about you, but this thing has been flashing across Facebook and YouTube and everything else. Got people throwing it in water, people saying it'll easily start no matter what condition. And I will be honest, it really piqued my interest. I want to see if this thing is as good as everybody says it is, because this is it appears to be a piece of rope, which it is really not a piece of rope, but it looks like a piece of rope. And it is a perfect size to go in any backpack. And this is extremely big when it comes to a fire starter. And this thing was only $10. So if you could get a fire starter for $10, under $10, shipped to my house in Alaska, that could easily go into any backpack for any camping trip or anything else, why wouldn't I spend the money on this? But is it as good as everybody says it is? Well, let's see if it's any good. We're gonna do a few things. First, we're gonna crack this baby open. We're gonna toss in some water. We're gonna leave it in water for 24 hours. Worst case scenario, this thing's gonna float in there. I'm gonna try to submerge it, keep it submerged. We're gonna see if this will still start just as easily. What I'll do is I'll take a clip off of it, and I'll leave one clip dry, the rest in water, so we sort of get a test version of what it is not soaked in water. Now, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to start it in 3 different ways. We're gonna try to start it with just a actual fire starter block with sparks and magnesium strips. Then what we're gonna do is start it with a lighter or a match and see how easy it is there. Then we're gonna try to start it with a laser. Let's open this up and take a closer look at what's inside. So you can see how I already was messing with it. It popped open. And here it is without its wrapping. It does just look like a piece of solid braided rope. However, it does have a different texture to it, so I'm not really sure what they used. However, let's go ahead and snip off the end. We'll toss this in some water and leave it for 24 hours and come back and do some tests. Okay, so here is the Blackbeard rope after 24 hours of soaking in water. It definitely does feel like it's taken up a lot of water over that time. Let's see if it can still start. Now, that may just be my perception on the outside. It may be completely dry on the inside. I doubt it though. So let's just take this outside and let's get a fire going. Okay, so from here on out, I'm just gonna narrate the video because I'll be honest with you, doing this was extremely difficult, so I wouldn't have been able to narrate it while I was doing it. So I'm using the Blackbeard rope, the box of matches right there, a strike starter with a magnesium block, the leftover rope that I cut off as a control that's dry, a knife, and a high-powered laser. Now, the first one we're going to be using is the control or the dry end of the Blackbeard rope that was not placed in water. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure you cut off a small piece of that, and then you're going to want to separate all the little threads in the rope itself and create sort of like this soft bundle. Now, if you rub them between your fingers, you'll actually start feeling that it'll puff up sort of like a cotton ball. Now, you want that because you want this to be able to catch fire relatively easily, and you don't want it to be sort of hard and difficult to start. So you want it to have that nice puffiness to allow oxygen to really get inside. Now, what I did next is I used the scraper end and I scraped off some magnesium, and then I'm going to use the striker end to strike down towards the Blackbeard rope. Now you can see the magnesium pieces are catching and there are pretty good sparks coming out. But the issue that I find here is that over and over and over again as I'm striking it, nothing's really happening to the Blackbeard rope. Now, this was extremely disappointing to me because in their ads, people are striking it once, striking it twice, and it's immediately catching. And that's just not happening here. I spent a good solid 5 minutes of striking before I gave up and moved on to the next thing. The next thing I used was a box of matches. Now, the reason I use this is because a lot of people in their camping equipment or survival equipment have matches. So I wanted to see just how easy this was to light with a simple match. And it lights up pretty easily. And the one thing that I like the most about this, after it was actually lit on fire, is the fact that it retains a fire, a flame, for a good long period of time. In fact, I had to put it out because it was lit for so long. So this is a good fire starter if you can get it lit. That's the issue. The issue is the initial lighting of it. After that, I believe that it would easily make a fire as long as you know what you're doing. Even if you barely know what you're doing, it stays lit for long enough that you can sort of muddle your way through it. And especially because this is just a small amount right here burning off, and you have that entire rope to mess with. And last but not least, we have the high-powered 1.5 watt blue laser. Now, if you've seen in the past, this thing does burn through some, but it doesn't burn through everything. You see immediately when it hits that pile, it immediately starts to smoke. Well, I can tell you that there were no flames that came immediately, so this may not necessarily be the greatest survival tool. Maybe just go for a flashlight as opposed to the high watt blue laser. At this point, you see I've put in far too much effort. Better just to have some matches in my backpack. But at this point, I'm already vested in it. So let me show you exactly how long it takes. Now I'm fast forwarding this at about times 10, and I could say that it took about a good solid 3 minutes of power to finally get that thing going. Now let's get into the wet rope. Now this thing is still wet from when I took it out 30 minutes ago. If I squeezed it, it would still drip water. So you want to cut a little piece out, and just like the other rope, the control rope, you want to take apart all the threading in the rope itself. You want to rub it between your fingers and thumb, and you want to create like a nice airy pillow, like a little thing of cotton that you're putting down on the ground. Now, what I used in the initial test, just like the first one, is the magnesium strike stick. And what I did was, again, I took the shavings from the magnesium, I shaved off some magnesium strips, and I went to town with the striker. Now, I already didn't have a whole lot of hope for this because when it came to the dry controlled version, I was unable to get it to light. So I tried, and again, after a few minutes, I sort of just gave up. Now I used the same little pillow, and again, still wet. You could feel it in your fingers, and I used a match, and the great thing is it lit right up. So this is actually going to be a pretty good, solid fire starter rope if you just want to toss in your bag and you have something like a lighter or match to light it with, because it'll still light even when it's wet. So that's a positive thing. Now, the last test I did, of course, was the laser once more. Another small pile, and I just sat the laser next to it, and it took another 3.5 to 4 minutes to finally light it. It took forever. I really wanted the laser to be a cool survival tool, but it's really falling short. Now, if you like videos and videos like this, hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a comment of the content you guys would like to see on this channel. I got a lot of videos coming up in the future, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you guys can be notified when I drop my next video. Until next time.